Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Melissa Andre. I'm the Executive Director of the Philadelphia Tax Review Board, and I'm here to commence a session of the Tax Review Board. Today is Thursday, March 27th of 2025. It is approximately 2:07 p.m., and our category today is license and inspections. Please be aware that this is a public hearing and it is being recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy. And by continuing to be in this meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. This recording will be posted to the Tax Review Board's website. With me today is our board chair, Paula Weiss, as well as board members John O'Connor and Nancy Cameradiner. Paula, please take it away.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. The Tax Review Board hearings for March 27th, 2025 are now in session. Before we move to the petitioners who are present, either virtually or in our office for their hearings, we have some administrative matters to read into the record. We're going to start with case number 4, which is 1443 North 19th Street. And actually a companion case is case number 8 and case number 11, all 1443 North 19th Street. Last 4 digits of the docket for case 4, PFMO, for case 8, 1G03, and 11 is R1RK, and that matter has been continued. And then we also have case number 9, 450 North 60th Street. Last 4 digits to the docket, TA3C. That matter is also continued, which brings us to our first case that we're actually going to proceed with today, which is number 6, 2213-25 Arch Street. Last 4 digits of the docket, H6QT. I believe we have petitioners present in our hearing room.
That is correct.
And
Ms.
yes.
Caporato?
Okay.
Got it.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. My name is Paula Weiss, Chair of the Tax Review Board. Could you please state your full name for the record and your affiliation with Westminster Associates?
Sure. It's Laura Scaparato. I'm the property manager.
Okay, Ms. Scaparato, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. We're going to start with the city representatives so that we can have read into the record the time period and dollar amounts and controversy. We will then come back to you for you to provide information as to why you're here today, what you're looking for from the board. Mr. Cohen, are you representing the city today?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. As a preliminary matter, though, the bill that was appealed or petitioned to this board has been paid in full. We can read the amounts into the record, but just noting for the record, the amounts would be, I think, a month or 2 prior to when the amount was paid. So there is a slight difference. The interest that was paid a month later was slightly larger.
Okay, I guess, let me ask Ms. Scaparato, the bill is paid. Are you no longer disputing it?
So we were never disputing the bill. We were disputing the penalty and interest that was associated with it. Part of it was the process that like when I went to L&I to dispute it, I was given misinformation on how to handle the situation. So I'm also just hoping from a perspective of that, along with financial hardship during COVID, during flooding from Hurricane Ida as a national disaster. There's a lot of things that went through this process to get us to this point that we were never told to not pay the bill and to just appeal the penalties and interest ahead of time.
All right.
When was this paid, Mr. Cohen?
The payment was made April 1st of 2024. I believe the bill that is shown, or the bill that was appealed, was February 20th of 2024. I think Ms. York from the License Issuance Unit can correct me if I'm wrong about that.
And the petition was filed here on March 25th of 2024.
All right, why don't we get the numbers on the record and then see where we can go from there?
Okay.
Ms. Mitchell? You are muted.
Okay, you want me to read the numbers? Okay, no problem.
All right, hang on. Could you please state your full name and position with the city?
Sure. Lashika Mitchell, Code Administrator for License and Inspection.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in the cases today will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, the numbers and dates, I guess, for this specific petition?
Sure. 2213-25 Arch Street. This is for a license fee, bill date 2/2024, bill number 425891. Current license fee amount $5,670. Past due license fee $10,710. Interest $1,083.60. Penalty $2,167.20 for a total of $19,630.80.
All right, so Mr. Cohen, however, has provided information that the bill was paid. What is currently due?
I can actually show that's one of the city's exhibits is the receipt from April 1st of 2024. So I can enter that into the record later.
Thank you, please. I guess, but still my question is, what is currently due?
On that bill, nothing should be due because it has been paid in full to reissue the license.
So $19,630, give or take, because you said it was paid a little bit after. the
Yeah,
month.
$19,630.80 was the total amount paid on April 1st of 2024.
Okay. So our question is whether we're going to proceed, or whether this needs to go into a refund posture, even for, let's say we're now looking only at interest and penalty.
Well, the city would note for the record, and I think is noted in the city's position statement, that this was filed as a petition on interest and penalty, not as a petition for refund.
Right, and that's what we're looking,
Yeah.
right, that's what we're looking at, interest and penalty. On whether it's necessary to go through the refund process first, Ms. Andre?
This is always very tricky. If there's an order from the board that a refund should be ordered, she still would have to go through the refund process through revenue. I
Right,
think.
but she would have a letter from the board that she could attach as a reason to grant relief, which we have done in the past.
We have, arguably correct, yes.
And since we're limiting ourselves to interest and penalty, do the board need to have a chat, or John, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we should have a chat.
All right, everybody.
And
sit
I
tight.
agree.
All right, so Ms. Caparotto, here's where we are. There is a separate process that the city requires through the Revenue Department to reach the Tax Review Board for a bill that has been paid.
Understood.
Granted, you filed this petition prior to payment, but here we are and it's paid. So our dilemma is whether we actually have jurisdiction to go forward without your having first gone through the city fund process, without wanting to give you a runaround.
I completely understand.
Okay.
Yeah, and even if there is a second step, you know, that you were saying, if there's approval on your end for me to take that next step, that would be extremely helpful. Just,
Our dilemma is whether you have to take that next step first.
oh, understood.
Not set, right, whether we need to send you kind of
What
like,
is the position of the city?
That this was filed as a petition affirmatively not to pay this interest and penalty amount, which then the entity paid. So a new petition for a refund would have to be filed.
all right, we're gonna talk for a minute.
On top of
Thank
this,
you.
Right, everybody,
Wait,
Alright.
what did you say?
another petition on top of the one that we just, this one?
But not here.
right,
The Department of Revenue has the jurisdiction to determine refunds.
Okay,
And then if they deny the refund, that's when the tax review board gets jurisdiction. So technically, at this moment, the board may not have jurisdiction to hear this case.
and we don't want to give you the runaround.
yeah.
Don't wanna make you feel like we're not interested or concerned about your situation, because that is not the case. We just
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure that we do it properly, so that whatever decision we make is one that you can then take advantage of if it's a positive decision for your situation. So give us a minute, everybody sit tight.
We appreciate, because we really didn't have a choice other than to pay it to make our
Right.
our license up to date. And we received no notice or anything saying, you know, this hasn't been paid, you have a past due, you're accruing penalties.
Right, yeah, all of that is, you know, we understand. The question just has to do with having come here already paid it, having nothing to do with the merits of your situation and what your argument would be and how compelling it may or may not be. It's just what's our process so that we do it correctly for you. Okay, so,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
All right,
Melissa,
yes. Everybody just hold tight. The board is just going into the virtual room.
Thank you.
we have everybody back. All right,
Everybody,
Tax Review Board, oh, John, you're sideways. Tax Review Board is back in session. We did have a conversation about the posture of this case, the situation. Ms. Caparato, unfortunately, at this point in time, we are going to decline hearing this case. We are going to provide you, before you leave, with the proper form to request a refund. Ms. Andre has that in the office, and she'll make sure you have that petition, which you could even fill out and drop off today if you choose. So that we're going to request that you go through the refund process, request the refund for interest and penalties. If you get it, or you get, you know, whatever kind of relief you're looking for, great, you're done. If you do not, we will give you you will have the opportunity to come back here to this board. And we will at that point listen to your position, your arguments as to why an interest and penalty abatement is warranted in this circumstance. Okay, so I think we're gonna not go further today. We're gonna give you the opportunity to go through the proper refund process. Okay, so thank you for coming in. So we are gonna do a, I guess a no action needed because it's a refund now. So can I get concurrence from the board?
John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Camerdiner, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. And you will get a letter from the tax review board in about 2 weeks with that full decision. Okay, thank you for coming in. And we are gonna move on. Hang on.
Paula, this is cases 5 and 7.
Yes, and I am looking.
After me, okay?
Agenda.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on to, give me just a second to find my agenda again.
I remember it's Mr. Paul Riley.
Yes.
Yep.
Hang on.
And Supervisor Rebikowski, if you could turn on your camera.
All right, so it's cases 5 and 7, last 4 digits of the docket, PXNL and KKL6. And Mr. Riley, good afternoon. Could you state your full name for the record, please?
Yes, Paul Riley.
And Mr. Riley, my name is Paula Weiss, Chair of the Tax Review Board. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give today in these matters will be the truth?
Yes,
Thank you. We're going to turn to the city representatives so that they can put on the record for us the dates and dollar amounts in controversy. We will then come back to you and you will have an opportunity to explain to us why you're here today and what you are looking for from the board.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes. Before we even get to that, I would point out Exhibit C2 in the city's packet is a final order by agreement between the city and Mr. Riley. That agreement explicitly covers the administrative fees he is seeking to abate in 2WKKL6. So that matter I would put before this board, and I can put the final order by agreement up on the screen if you'd like. That
yeah.
matter should be, I think, already decided by the Court of Common Pleas.
And that's case number 7 on our docket, and I did not read the address. It's 5008 Cedar Avenue for both of those cases. Yeah, could
That's
you
correct.
put up on the screen so that we have that formally entered into our record?
Of course. Can everyone see the packet that's on my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
All right, I'm going to go down to page 13 in the packet, which is the start of the final order by agreement. All the highlighting in the document is added later. It's not in the original. And here on page 17 is the authorization to demo. You can see that it was handwritten, that we gave a few extra, I think maybe a short of 2 weeks until the demo would start so that Mr. Riley could get belongings out of the premises. And then down here on page 18, defendant is responsible for all costs associated with the demolition. And down here, including a 21% administrative fee.
Got it. So Mr. Riley, are you familiar with this document that Mr. Cohen has put up on our screen?
Yeah,
Okay, and do you recall this agreement?
yes,
Okay, and are you, I mean, your petition is asking for an abatement of certain administrative fees as part of the bill, is that correct?
yes, the 21%.
Yes. However, as part of this court order, it does appear that you agreed to pay it.
Yes, well, the lawyer, he was telling me that, you know, if I can possibly appeal that 21% and have it waived. So that's the reason why I did that.
I appreciate that. From our jurisdictional point of view, however, the Court of Common Pleas takes precedence over the Tax Review Board. We cannot modify or overturn a final order from the Court of Common Pleas. There may have been other appeal possibilities for you, but I do not believe that this board has the authority to modify a Court of Common Pleas final order.
I
John?
would only,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
That's what I was going to say. John, is there anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, I totally agree with you.
All right, Mr. Cohen?
I would only add for the record that settlement negotiations are not relevant to litigation, but I would say that the parties were unable to reach an agreement in this matter.
Okay, I mean, we're just really concerned with the final order at this point, I think. So unfortunately, I think we're gonna mark this as, I don't know, is this a no action needed? Or just denied for lack of jurisdiction? I think we're gonna do it that way. I'm gonna denied for lack of jurisdiction. John?
Yes, I have John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Cameron, I concur.
Always, I concur. So unfortunately, Mr. Riley, this is not a matter that we can in any way make any adjustments to. There is another petition, case number, which is listed as case number 5, Mr. Cohen.
Yes, and actually, the amounts that Mr. Riley is bringing into controversy are before this board and are within this board's jurisdiction, but I wanted to explain why.
Can we get them for the record first, so we know what we're talking about?
Well, the reinspection fee bill, I believe, is $3,100, though I'll have Ms. Mitchell read that
Yeah.
into the record in a moment. Of that, 1,700 are actually covered by this final order, but that's not, Mr. Riley is requesting that the other 1,400 be abated. That's not part of this order, so that is within this board's jurisdiction. The first 7 reinspections, 6 of which triggered reinspection fees, account for that 1,700. And that's where we see this 1,700 number agreed upon in this final order. Where we have confusion between the city and Mr. Riley is this order did not cover the 4 subsequent reinspections that triggered $1,400 worth of fees. Whereas Mr. Riley is under the impression that this order did cover those, meaning those 4 have $0 worth of fees. So that's the controversy before this board.
All right, so there is still $1,400 outstanding for Okay, so can we get the formal numbers if there's interest?
Yes.
The dates, all that, and then we'll go forward on that. And is that Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, so 5008 Cedar Avenue, this is for a CSU reinspection fees, bill date 10/4/2024, bill number 726-944. I have the principal amount, $3,100. There's no admin charge, interest, or penalty. Once again, the total is $3,100.
all right, but I think that Mr. Cohen has already explained that 1,700 of it is covered by the court order we've already acknowledged, and we're really looking at 1,400.
Okay.
And those are subsequent to the court order, correct, Mr. Cohen? And what date was the court order on?
The date of the court order was June 25th of 2024. 2 of those 4 reinspections happened after the court order. 2 of them happened after the filing of the complaint, but before the court order. And that period is not covered by the court order because the court only had jurisdiction over what was in the complaint. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That's one of the things the city will show as part of its case. And we do have Supervisor Thomas Rebikowski from CSU for that purpose.
Mr. Cohen,
Yvonne.
Mr. Cohen, let's go back. So the 1,400, what are the dates for the?
Oh, yes.
For those, those.
So those would be October 31st of 2023, June 12th of 2024, August 5th of 2024, and again, August 7th of 2024.
And how much is each one?
Because those were, I think, the 6th through 9th or 10th re-inspections. Those are each $350 per the Philadelphia Code.
Thank you. Thank you for not making me do the math.
Quite all right. I actually put it, I think, in multiple places in the city's position statement just because it's math. We don't like doing math.
We would have gone, because we would have gone to medical school instead of law school, if we could do it. Okay, so, and there's no interest, no penalties. We're just talking
Correct.
principal reinspection fees for these 4 dates. All right, let's start with Mr. Riley. You want to explain to us a little bit about this property and how these reinspection fees occurred, what was going on?
Well, I had some unsafe violations that, that wasn't able to correct, so that's what the, I guess, border on the inspection fees, but there was a couple of, after the court order, I don't understand. Those that this, it was already decided that the house was gonna be demolished. I don't understand why they had to, a couple of more re-inspections.
All right, so maybe, Mr. Cohen, why don't you put your case on?
Thank you very much. Well, I'll start by putting back on the documents that are already part of the court's record, so we can get those out of the way before moving on to Mr. Rybakowski's testimony. So starting on page 2 in the city's packet is the complaint the city filed August 9th of 2023. And I have an excerpt here from pages 5 to 6 of the complaint. This is where it lays out the reinspection fees count 2. And specifically in paragraph 29, we have, these are the re-inspections that failed subsequent to the first inspection. I've actually highlighted the September 2021 in red because that didn't trigger a fee. That's the second inspection. And then these are the 6 that did trigger fees that are part of the 1,700 that's already set by this court order.
Right,
And
so
you
these
can
are not
see
in front of us.
Yes, and the last case that, or the last reinspection that isn't in front of the board was June 27th of 2023, about a month and a half before August 9th, when the complaint was filed. So that's why when we're talking about what does the complaint set, the complaint sets 1,700 in fines. It's setting it for these 6 dates highlighted in green that are in the complaint going back to August of 2023. And with that, I would call Thomas Rybakowski to testify.
And specifically about the re-inspections that are in front of us?
Exactly. Has Supervisor Rybakowski been sworn?
No.
Let's please do that now.
Mr. Rybakowski? Hold on, I can't see him at this point. All right, Mr. Rybakowski, could you please state your full name and position with the city?
Thomas Rybakowski, City of Philadelphia, License and Inspections, Construction Compliance Supervisor.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Cohen?
Thank you. Actually, I'm just going to jump right to page 34 in the packet. Supervisor, what are these documents that I have on screen starting on pages 34 through 36?
Page 34 is a printout from the city's Atlas system or a database illustrating violations. This is for the property at 5008 Cedar Avenue that the property has been declared or the case priority is unsafe.
And was this the same violation case that was resolved by that final order by agreement we were looking at earlier?
Yes, it references case number 726944.
And just for the sake of the record, also pages 35 and 36 in the packet, are those continuations of the same Atlas record?
Yes.
Going back up to the bottom of page 34, what are these listed under investigations?
Investigations are another word for inspections that took place by the department for this property in relation to the case referenced at 5008 Cedar, and that case would have been 726944.
And I apologize to the board. These re-inspections are out of order, and there is no way to properly order them by date through this system. That said, Supervisor Rybakowski, I'm going to scroll through and just take a look at the dates of the re-inspections. Are the re-inspections that are highlighted in yellow re-inspections that occurred after August 9th of 2023?
Yes.
And the ones labeled in green are those re-inspections that occurred before August 9th of 2023?
Yes.
And how many re-inspections are highlighted in yellow?
In yellow, you have, you mind going to the next page?
Oh, sorry. Let's start with this. What on page 34? How many in yellow?
1.
And page 35?
2.
And then page 36?
3. Or 1, and that would be a total of 4.
Now, going back up here, there's an August 5th, 2024 reinspection. Why did that reinspection take place?
That was a reinspection by the area inspector, and then on August 5th or August 7th, there was a reinspection that was done by our demolition coordinating team when the property was placed out to bid for demolition.
And I'm just going to go to page 44 in the packet. Was there a demolition permit issued also on August 7th after that reinspection?
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about the reinspections conducted leading up to the final order by agreement and the two that occurred after?
No.
All right.
Mr. Cohen, could I interrupt?
Yes.
Mr. Rubikowski, why, if once the court order was issued and the city was given the authority to demolish, what was the purpose of re-inspecting? He wasn't going to presumably be bringing the building into compliance.
That was done by the area inspector, and to be quite honest with the board, that reinspection fee of $350 should be deleted.
Which date?
The one that occurred either on August 5th or August 7th.
Okay.
I think August 7th was the one with EK Multi-Service, the contractor.
August 7th would have been the time the property was placed out to bid, so I would go ahead and remove the August 5th date.
Okay. And the city would be okay with that.
Okay.
And I think just for the sake of doing the math, I think that would be instead of four re-inspections at $350 each, that would only be 3 at $350, which I think is $1,050. Someone wants to check me with a calculator.
We'll get there. So
Okay.
you're agreeing that the August 5th should be deleted? What about the August 7th, which was the bid date?
That's a requirement as we were out there doing the inspection, placing it to bid.
Do you always charge an inspection fee when you're out there for the bid?
Every time the inspection is generated in the system, once we get past 3 inspections, there are re-inspection fees that occur through the system. So essentially you have the initial inspection where a notice is sent. The next is a final inspection where a final notice is sent. And then every inspection after that gets an inspection fee. The third is $100. The fourth would be $250, and every inspection after that is $350.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Supervisor, let me ask this question. Is there anything that the inspector looks for at a curbside bid inspection that they don't at previous inspections?
Yes. We take photographs on the property, the neighboring properties, how that demolition is to occur, and also illustrate the specs or the requirements or specifications on the demolition and how that is to occur with the demolition contractors.
And I guess one last question, the October 4th, 2024 inspection that passed, was that the completion of demolition?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing further for Supervisor Rybakowski, but if Mr. Riley would like to use the exhibits while cross-examining Mr. Rybakowski, I can leave them on screen.
Right. Mr. Riley, do you have any questions regarding Mr. Rybakowski's testimony or anything that Mr. Cohen has shown us on the screen?
Well, the only thing I understand is if the court order was for $1,700, how I can be charged, more fees after that. I don't understand that.
Well, because I think between the time that the complaint was filed, Mr. Cohen, correct me if I haven't quite gotten this, between the date that the complaint was filed and the court decision, there were further re-inspections and they were not part of the court case because they happened after the court petitions were filed. Did I get that?
Yes, though I would add, if I can, right down here, this paragraph is probably the key to the court's jurisdiction. Plaintiff seeks a judgment for count 2 in the amount of $1,700. at that point that we have made that request and we don't request, oh, and continuing reinspection fees, that amount is set for the rest of the litigation. We can't get more than that for this count because we didn't specifically ask for ongoing reinspection fees.
Right, but ongoing re-inspections occurred. And so
That's,
once the
yes,
court order was finalized, those were also then subject to separate billing.
correct.
Any other questions, Mr. Riley?
No.
Okay. Mr. Cohen, anything else you want to add for the board?
Nothing further for the board. The city would just move its exhibits packet into evidence.
So moved. All right, so we're going to step back then and have a quick conversation about what we've been learning today, and we will hopefully be able to render a decision. Everybody sit tight. We have everybody back.
Yeah, I'm looking for Nancy. There she is. Okay.
Tax Review Board is back in session. We did take an opportunity to discuss the materials provided by the city, the information from both parties, and it is our decision. We're looking at a $1,400 principal to reduce that by $700. The city has already conceded one of the $350 reinspection fees, and that was the one related to August 5th. And it is our decision to delete that the city be directed to delete the August 7th, 2024 reinspection fee, as well as that was a bid date for demolition. So our decision is to reduce the principal by $700. Mr. Riley, you will get a letter from the Tax Review Board with that decision in about 2 weeks. You'll have 30 days from the date of the adjusted bill to arrange installments if that is how you choose to deal with the balance. Can I have concurrence from the board?
John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Camerediner, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. Do you have any questions, Mr. Riley?
No.
Okay, so that concludes the matter for you for today. Thank you for coming in, and
Mhm.
we're going to move on. You're free to go.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we're going to move on to the remaining case on our docket, which is listed as case number 26715 North Carlisle Street. Last four digits of the docket, is that a 7TD? And I believe that Ms. Dupont is here via Zoom.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. Dupont. Could you state your full name for the record, please?
Marie Dupont.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. As you've been watching, we're going to turn to the city's representatives so that we can have read into the record the dates and amounts and controversy, and then we will come back and you'll have an opportunity to explain to us what you're looking for from the board. Okay, Mr.
Okay,
Coe?
thank you.
I believe, Ms. Mitchell, do you have the current, as of, I think, 2025 amounts for the rental license renewal?
No, I have my bill date is 1/31/2024.
Ms. York, do you have the most up-to-date numbers for rental license renewal?
Okay, for the rental license, it's, oh, what is it? Sorry, our system is moving a little
All
slow
right,
today.
so Ms. York, if you're going to be testifying, let me swear you in.
Yeah.
Okay, could you state your full name and position with the city, please?
Shondell York, License and Inspection Code Administration Supervisor.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so you can provide us with the amounts that are open and due?
Yep. So the most recent, the last draft date, bill date for them would be for 1,000. Oh, I'm sorry, my computer's a little slow. $1,271.82.
And is that principal only?
No, that is the current rental license fee, the penalty, interest, and past renewal fee.
All right, so we need all of that broken down for us.
Okay, so the interest fee would be $145.94.
I'm
The
sorry,
past
Ms. York. Can you just slow down a little?
Oh, sorry.
We're taking it down. That's why I get, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Again, the interest fee is $145.94. The past renewal fee is $696. The penalty fee would be $291.88, and the rental license renewal fee currently is $138.
Okay, and can you tell us what years the past due amounts cover?
Sure. So the last time they renewed this license, oh no.
That's Exhibit C1 in the packet. We can get to that as part of the city's presentation.
Okay.
But I'll, as an offer of proof, the last renewal of the license was for the term of 2018 through February of 2019.
Yep.
Okay, so this is 20. So is that 138 the 2025?
Yes, that's for 25 and 2026.
So, all right, then we're looking for 2018 through 2024, Mr. Cohen?
2018 was already covered. That was the last license period that was covered. So March 1st of 2019 would have been the start of the new rental period, and that's where we start the accrual of fines and fees.
Got it. Okay.
Or just fees and interest, sorry.
Fees and interest. Okay. Any opening comments? Mr. Cohen?
This is a fairly standard case where someone stopped being able to renew their license for other reasons. The city will get into those reasons in its case. But if one person becomes unable to renew a license because there are other violations that they have committed, they need to clear up those violations. That's not an excuse for failing to maintain an active license. So the years that this license was inactive are not excusable under the law. And that's why the city is entitled to the past license fees, current license fees, interest, and penalty.
Okay. Ms. Dupont, what would you like to tell us about? I'm not
Yes,
sure who
I'm here.
background noise.
Yes.
Listening to. All right, Ms. Dupont, what would you like to tell us about this matter? What you're looking for from the board?
Okay. Okay, as the inspector, I'm sorry if I didn't get the title clear, mentioned, the last license renewal was 2019. And as you know, also COVID-19 hit right around that time. So I couldn't renew the license. And then every time I would try, there is always, it stopped me from from continuing. I have to get clearance from the tax review board. When I try to get clearance from the tax review board, then it tells me that I have to get lead clearance, which I did the repair in 2022. I did get the clearance from lead, and all that was entered into the system. Again, trying to renew the license, I'm still getting issues. So my thing is, I have a list that says when it was rented, and all I'm asking is for the board to, if they can waive those fees for me and allow the time that, the property wasn't rented. I couldn't do anything with it because, again, hardship with COVID. Once I was able to do so, I made the repair and get the clearance for the lead so that I can get the license. If they can waive those fees for me and have me started with 2022 when I actually have somebody in there. 2022 forward. So I can pay those things, but when I was able from 2019, 2020, 2021, I didn't have nobody in there. And then again, COVID. So that's what the story is.
Okay. Mr. Cohen, any questions for Ms. Dupont, or you just want to go into your case?
The city is ready to proceed. The city calls license issuance Shondell York. And I'd like to put the city's exhibits packet on the screen that's been previously provided to the board and the petitioner. Ms. York, if you could please tell us, have you reviewed the records for, specifically the rental license records for 6715 North Carlisle Street?
Yes.
Moving now to Exhibit C1 in the packet on page 3. Again, all the highlighting in this document is not in the original. What is this document that I have on screen?
That's a copy of her rental license from 2018 to 2019.
And how many units does she have?
2.
And was this the
How many?
She has 2
2
units.
units? And specifically 2
The first
dwelling
and
units
second
that
floor.
are let for occupancy?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Dupont, only one person can talk at a time, so you'll have to wait until Mr. Cohen is finished and you'll have another opportunity.
Now, after February 28th of 2019, were there any other renewals that were actually issued by the department?
No.
Now moving on to page 5, this is the petitioner's petition that was submitted. I do want to point out that failure to renewal for lead inspection, and this is in the city's position statement, that is a prerequisite. The licenses and inspections cannot issue a license if they are not lead certified. This doesn't necessarily mean that all of the lead has been cleared up. It's more of I think, an information and reporting requirement. So you're reporting to your tenants that you have had the inspection, which you need to pay for to have the inspection, or get, I think certain city programs will do the inspection for free, but you need to have the inspection done and get the certification as a prerequisite to applying for your license. So that is, by admission of the petitioner in this petition, that is a prerequisite she failed to meet when trying to renew her license in 2019.
Was that a requirement in 2019?
Yes.
I believe the law was, well, I don't know exactly when the law was enacted, but the law was in place in 2019, Ms. York?
But
Yes.
2018? She got
Yes.
the license originally.
Yeah, she got the license, but when time for renewal, we were already doing the lead certification. So we wouldn't have been against her on 2018 for it, but when she went to do it in 2019, she would have needed to give us the lead certs.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
And then there was another, here we go. In her addendum to the petition, she said she is finally current in her property tax and refuse payments. That is actually a separate requirement. And forgive me.
Who's,
I got it.
I think it's A202.7 in the code. Licenses and inspections cannot issue a permit or a license to anyone who is delinquent in the payment of property taxes or refuse fees unless they are on a payment plan. So this, I am finally current in my property tax and refuse, is an admission that she didn't meet a second prerequisite to getting her license at that time. Now moving on, this is the actual bill that she included. This bill would have been, I think, from around 2022. Is that right, Ms. York?
Yes.
Because this total 987. Oh no, that would have been maybe 2023.
I'm trying, 1 second, I'm trying to look at it real quick. Yeah, with interest and penalty, the delinquent fee, yeah,
Okay, but the numbers that you read into the record earlier are current and up to date.
those are for as of last week. Yes.
Okay, excellent. Now I'm going to make this bigger.
thank you.
Is everyone able to read what is on screen here?
Sort of.
Yes,
Sorry,
better.
there we go.
got it.
Ms. York, what is this document that I have on screen?
These is the jobs that are related to her rental license. Anytime a customer starts a job, it shows up when they started, what happens with it, so on and so forth.
So that April 16th job here that was approved, was that the renewal of the license we saw in Exhibit C1?
Yes.
Can I just clarify that when she says job, she means application that gets started and then is not completed?
Yes.
Specifically, do you mean business license job, which is a term of art in L&I's system?
Yes, it's a business license renewal job.
And are all of these BRs here between April 16th of 2019 and October 2nd of 2024?
Yes.
What are all of those jobs?
Those are when Ms. DuPont entered the system and started a renewal job and then didn't finish the system. When you start a renewal job, it stays active in the system for usually about 60 days. And then after that, it then goes to an abandoned status if you don't complete the job.
And if she failed to meet, say, the lead cert requirement, would that eventually lead to the job being marked abandoned?
Yes, because the lead cert requirement would stop her from completing it and from it going from created to approved. So it would stop it and then it would just sit there until she would had to have come back to the job and either have had to do the lead cert and have the health department clear it, and then she'd be able to get it approved or what have you.
So there's a grace period almost between when you file the application and then it sends up a red flag, you don't have your lead cert. So there's a grace period in which to get the lead cert and finish the job.
It's 60 days before it moves to abandoned.
Does that also count for anyone who's in tax delinquent status?
It's 60 days before the job goes from its active status to abandoned status.
So would it mean that all of these jobs from 2019 to 2024, that they were abandoned either because there was that unresolved red flag or just because she didn't move forward with that application?
Because she didn't move forward with that application. Whatever flagged her, she didn't finish it or clear it up, so it couldn't process through.
Thank you. Let's actually move down in the packet to the next page, and there we go. What is this document that I have on screen?
This is a violation notice.
And is this the type of document L&I keeps in the ordinary course of its business?
Yes, we have all of our violations. You can see them.
And is this something that an L&I inspector would enter through their course of their ordinary duties?
Yes.
So what's the date of this NOV, or notice of violation NOV?
August 9th, 2018.
So that would have been before her renewal of the license at the end of February 2019. And what were the violations, or one of the violations cited?
Repair cause of raw sewage.
Would that also be a reason for someone who's living in the apartment to want to leave the apartment?
Yes, absolutely.
And going down, are there other violations on this particular notice of violations.
Yeah, she has trash and rubbish, weeds, and all of this would be poison.
Now, if there is an active notice of violation that hasn't been appealed to the Board of L&I Review or any other board's administration agency, would that prevent the issuance of a license?
Yes,
So I think it's after 30 days, because you have 30 days to appeal. If after
Yes.
30 days there's no appeal, then that raises a red flag when you file a license application renewal.
yes,
And would that person then need to comply the violations before being able to clear up that red flag?
yes.
And actually, I'm just going to jump down now to, here we go, this next violation notice. What is this document that I have on screen?
It's another violation order.
And what's the date of this notice?
And this is March 26, 2019.
Does it also show this raw sewage in basement?
Yes,
And is this also a potential red flag issue 30 days after the date of the notice that would have prevented a renewal?
yes,
And just for the sake of the record, have both of these been complied since they were issued in 2018 and 2019 respectively?
that I'm not sure of right now, but I will be in 2 seconds.
Let
I
me
think it is.
scroll up to here. Is this a record in L&I's system of the violation that
Mhm.
ended up being complied?
Yes,
Resolution date for the first notice, the 2018 one, was that March 22nd of 2019?
yes,
So March 22nd of 2019, and then we have this NOV 4 days later, but it also
Mhm.
shows the same raw sewage issue.
yes,
And then going down here, we see the raw sewage issue continued through November of 2019.
yes.
So basically from, I think
August of
maybe
2018.
August of 2018 through November of 2019 would have been the period of red flag where
Yeah,
a renewal would have been spiked.
yes, she wouldn't be able to get her renewal through.
And does she currently, well, actually, what is this document that I have on screen right now?
That's a tax clearance memo for her.
So does she currently have, or at least as of March 24th, have tax clearance to obtain permits and licenses from L&I?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. I have no further questions for Ms. York, but before we move on to cross-examination, I do want to,
I'm sorry, could I ask a question? Ms.
Yeah.
York, at the time that anyone starts an application for this kind of license and is denied because there are NOVs or issues with the property, is the applicant notified as to why they're being denied?
Yes, anytime you're in any type of application, your reason for denial that it won't go through shows up on the screen. So it might be a tax flag. It'll tell you it's a lead inspection. It'll tell you property has violations on it. But you are told at the time when you're making the application because it's the only thing that stops you.
Okay, so there's a notification
Mhm.
for that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Proceed.
oh, thank you. I just wanted to point out that everything past page 20 is, I just put a bunch of sections of the Philadelphia Code, a bunch of regulations, including here 9-3901 sub 2B.3. This is the NOV requirement that there are no outstanding violation notices that were issued under Title IV, which have been of record for more than 30 days, which are not pending an appeal. That's where you find that requirement. And then I think the lead cert requirement and the tax certification requirement are also listed in the city's position statement. I didn't want to include too much in the city's exhibits packet.
Okay, could you show us just one more time briefly the page that has all the application dates listed that had been abandoned?
Sorry, I will make this bigger. The text is very tiny.
There you go. Thank you. Could you just, I just wanted to see the years. So every year from 2019.
So there's a
2000.
gap at 2020.
So one of my questions is, and I don't know the answer to this, but I'm just wondering, did the city have any 2020 COVID forgiveness
No,
process for these licenses?
No, there's no forgiveness because we never closed. Ellen and I never closed. We processed straight through. We all went home with laptops when the city closed down. Everything kept processing. You couldn't do it in person, but
Good for-
everything processed.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question.
Actually, that reminds me of another question to ask Ms. York. Were notices of potential renewals or delinquent licenses being issued through the Eclipse system during this time?
Always, all of your renewal notices are all given in Eclipse in addition to whatever notices we mail out. It's always in Eclipse when you go on. Everything that needs to be renewed has a bright green sign saying ready for renewal in the systems, regardless of what month it is, whatever month you got issued and it's up for, it's always in the system.
Do renewal notices go out for this? Are there renewal notices?
It depends on how you have your account set up, but they're always, if you have mail, like if you request per mail, you'll get mail. If you have email set up, then you get email set up. Just depends on how you want your notices.
Okay,
But it's also in the system. So if you just log into the system, anything that's due for renewal is right there.
thank you.
And just for the sake of the record, was L&I using the Eclipse system for property licenses from like 2017 on?
Since about 2015.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so Ms. Dupont, did you have any questions for Ms. York?
Yeah, again, going back to, as you can see that I have made attempt, okay? It's either for tax clearance. So today I just saw a nice certificate that I have clear for clearance, you know, in 2025. And prior year, you know, there was none. So they were, when I started it, just like, you know, the, she said, I'm sorry, with names. She said, I started it and then of course I got stopped, you know, and then so it wouldn't allow me, the system would not allow me to go further. And then going back to the tax clearance to get things done, it's a process. Everything is a process. You know, how long it will take for them to give me an answer. So, but again, every year I made the attempt, except for this year, I did not. Last year, 2024, I made it again. It stopped because, you know, of the fees that were required. Although I have the lead certification was done, clearance was done, the tax clearance was done. However, you know, with the fee, when it asked me to pay a lot of money that I did not have, so also that got stopped.
But do you
So-
understand though, each year when you went to apply to renew this license, do you understand why you got stopped?
Yeah, it tells me that, just like, you know, it
There
tells
were
me.
but there were other violations
No,
required
those are,
to be.
those violations, as you can see, it never stopped because they got cleared right away. The minute I get the notice, I make sure that I cleared. If it was because of garbage, I clear that up. And then when I call, they come back for inspection. As you can see, it was right there, resolution. It was never because of violation. It was really because of the lead and the tax clearance. These were the two reasons why. And the system should also say, these were the reason why, you know, I couldn't proceed with the application.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cohen, any final remarks?
The city would move its exhibits packet into evidence.
So moved.
Beyond that, we've discussed sort of the how and what these laws are. We haven't really discussed the why they exist. One of the benefits of having a rental license in the city is you can collect rent. Without that license, you do not have the legal right to collect rent. But part of that is also an implicit promise. If you are collecting rent in the city, you are paying your taxes promptly. You are informing your tenants of any lead difficulties or potential contaminants that exist in the property, and you are correcting any violations that exist on your property promptly. Here we had a property that had a raw sewage leak in 2018 that persisted through 2019. We had someone who was not paying their taxes or fees promptly, and we had someone who was not getting lead inspections to give that information to their tenants about lead certification. And those are not excusable prerequisites. You can't say, well, I failed to meet those for 5 years, but please give me a break. Don't hold me to the rental license I should have had for those 5 years. I think in order to give those laws effect, in order to make them have any deterrent value, we do need to charge for the back years of license fees. So that's the why that this bill should be upheld by the Tax Review Board.
Thank you.
May I say something, please? I'm
Yes.
glad that you got clear that up for me, and that is the reason why in my exhibit I've listed when the property were rented, okay, and the property management who actually rented those the 2 units, and it started after the lead inspection in 2022. Okay, from 2019, the property it wasn't rented because again, because of COVID, I did not have anybody in there. And as far as the delinquency in the taxes, I file my taxes every year, but except there was some glitch into how I need to apply that into the database, and then when I sent that information to the tax review board, they told me no, they will not accept it, though I have to go into the system, which took me a little while to figure it out, to enter this information correctly. So that's what happened. It wasn't because I wasn't paying taxes, I wasn't filing my taxes. I did all that, but it's a matter of knowing how to enter the information. Once I was able to get that, know how to, and enter the information into the system, it was okay. And then I have the list that I sent again as exhibit as to when the apartment were rented.
The city would note in rebuttal that Ms. Dupont attempted to renew her rental license in 2019 and 2021 prior to the lease that was provided by her as an exhibit.
Okay, thank you. Any of the board members have questions before we deliberate?
No.
All right, we're going to step back to go over the material that we have been presented with. Everybody sit tight.
Sorry, while we're off the record, Ms. Dupont,
Yes.
is that chirping behind you the smoke detector in like notifying you that there's a low battery?
Oh, that's in my private house.
No, I know. If you need, you can call 311 and you can basically report to ask the fire department to come by to get you a new smoke detector.
Oh, thank you
Or,
so
I mean,
much.
if you can also replace the battery, but if you need it, you can call 311.
Thank you so much. Thank you, noted.
Of course.
Must by Cheltenham Avenue.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. We're, tax board is back in session. We did have an opportunity to review the material and information provided in this case, and it is decision of the board to abate the penalty portion that has accrued. Can I get concurrence from board members?
Yes, John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy, we can't hear you. You are muted. Well, Paula Weiss, I concur. Nancy, can you unmute yourself?
hold on one second, maybe I could help her. Oh, did she just turn off her?
No,
camera?
that, oh, yeah, she did. Give us a thumbs up.
Unmute.
There you are.
Perfect.
Got you. Nancy, do you concur with the decision?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much for your patience.
We got it. Okay, so the decision of the board is to abate the penalties. Only that's a part of this assessment. Ms. DuPont, you will get a letter from the tax review board in about 2 weeks with that decision. You will have 30 days from the date of the adjusted bill that you will receive to enter into a payment arrangement with the Department of Revenue to address the remaining balance. If you enter into an agreement, or if you if you fail to enter into an agreement or enter into an agreement and fail to maintain it, the city will have the ability to reinstate the penalty portions being abated today. Do you have any questions?
No, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That concludes the matter before the board for your case. Thank you. And we're going to move on to the remaining matters before the board, which are the same entity, V2 Properties, Entity 7 LLC, case number 1, docket 10AA, case number 3, which is actually different properties, 2075 East Clementine, case number 3, 0KA9 2073 East Clementine, and case number 10, which is that IJ6L 2079 East Clementine Street. Ms. Andre, is there anyone here to represent the petitioner in this matter, in these matters?
No, it is approximately 3:20 PM. There's no one here in the virtual waiting room, and there's no one here at the 100 South Broad Street waiting room.
Thank you. Then I am going to recommend that for each of these 3 cases, the decision of the board is to deny each one for failure to appear.
This is also the first listing before the board
my
for all 3 cases.
All right, so we'll just leave it at that. Can I get concurrence from board members?
Yes, John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Cameron, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. So these 3 matters for V2 Properties Entity 6 LLC are all denied for failure to appear. I believe that completes our docket for today.
It's
I believe that does.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
We
you.
got through it. Thank you, Mr. Cohen and Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you very much, members of the board.
Ms. York,
you.
and tax review board session is now completed for today. We will see you next Tuesday.
Have a great
Right.
day.
Good.
All right.
Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
week.